Elmer Beard, and we are two Southern conservatives in conversation. I believe that's it.
Might be okay. Let's try that one.
Jumping ahead here.
I'm glad you're mentioning the midterm. Why do you think we might have one?
Oh, Mark,
Just because we've historically had one?
Yeah.
That's a good reason. It used to be something you could really depend on. That we have a democracy and there's a vote that matters. But I'm afraid
scary now.
it should be scary.
What?
Terrifying is a good word.
We may not have one, or if we do, or let's say when we do.
Okay.
Expect it to be useless.
Right. We can elect all the people we want to win, but if they are under some kind of an authoritarian regime that says, I'm sorry, we make the rules, so whatever your opinions were before you got elected, that's interesting, but we don't really care about them. We are going to do it exactly the way we have planned here. Project 2025 is a very elaborate plan, and it's 920 some pages. And they told us in advance. Kamala Harris used to say, "Can you believe they wrote this down? Have you read it?" Of course, nobody did. Unfortunately, if they had read it, they would have said, "Oh my God, we don't want this." And of course, Trump goes, "I've never. What is Project 2025? I've never." Pretended, of course, like he didn't know anything about it. And then the first day in office, he's just signing off on all the executive orders that put Project 2025 in place. That's why we have it.
So should I try to solicit my party, my Democratic Party, to grow Democrats and prepare for midterm? I'm preparing a speech, but I haven't mentioned up to the time, I haven't finished it yet, midterm election coming up. I just mentioned generally we need to grow our own Democrats from young age.
Right.
And prepare them for public office.
Well, because previous to now,
normally that's what you would.
We had an actual two-party system.
We have a two-party system,
and we
2 years are going to be.
Yeah, we actually had a Congress and a Senate that were reasonable, and they would, argue with one another, and maybe one side has a majority, but they almost always made some compromises, and that was okay. And then we had a judiciary. If the Supreme Court made a ruling, then the president and everyone else said, "Okay, that's the law of the land now. What's the rule?" Until otherwise challenged, or we changed some of the laws or whatever through the congressional action, because the legislature is the one that has all the power to make and create the laws, and the president's job is supposed to be to enforce those laws. And he walked right in there and stopped enforcing the laws, and he released all those people, all those criminals, and then he said, "By the way, I'm banning birthright citizenship."
I remember that one.
So, birthright citizenship is part of our 14th Amendment to the Constitution, which occurred after the Civil War, where we lost, 600,000+ Americans killing each other in the streets and everywhere else across the land. And of course, the population was much lower back then.
It was.
And our technology of how to kill people was much less advanced. It's gonna, if we have a civil war now, it's just gonna be a complete devastation. And then I don't know. Maybe these guys are okay with having a country that's all in tatters and a lot fewer people to contend with. Maybe maybe they think that's easier to control. I don't know.
I hate for that to cross my mind, but it's crossing. There seems to be some idea that we have too many people, and the ones we need to eliminate are the have-nots, and those who have would be the one that's left, and it would make it easier for the system to exist if we just didn't have to be concerned about any kind of equality. That's a sad thought.
Well, you and I think the majority of the rest of the country believe that we don't want that country. We don't want the country that's designed, built for, maintained by, and run by, and decided by billionaires. And this is the most wealthy cabinet in U.S. history by far. You know, there are more billionaires, like 13 billionaires in the presidential cabinet now, in the executive office. It's crazy. And do you think those people are going, well, I'm so worried about whatever Social Security check? They go, that's not even a rounding error. It's a tip at lunch. You know, I mean, they're not really concerned too much about us poor folks. But the rest of us are concerned, and we're concerned about our fellow Americans all across the board. And, you know, I really want to say this too. This notion that that being woke is some kind of a terrible idea, it's an enlightened idea. It's like, what does it mean? We're kind of aware that there's various factors in our culture that make an uneven playing field for many people who live here. I'm sure Elmer knows exactly what I'm talking about. Much better than I do. So, you know, we've got that. So, and then diversity, equity, and inclusion are just really fundamental things. I think a friend of mine told me that Costco came out recently and said they're keeping all of their diversity, equity, and inclusion.
I really like that. I did
protocols in place because they found out it improves their productivity.
Thank you.
It makes their company a better company, and it makes people happier and more secure working there. And heck, you know, so the fact that these things have been vilified and undermined, and just people telling us these stories, and white people like me saying, I've seen them up on television a lot of times saying, yeah, this all this stuff about race, yeah, we don't care about that. We're all colorblind now.
They're lying now too.
Come on.
Yeah. I'll be lying less if I say that it doesn't matter. I will always try to tell the truth. And when I say that I don't always tell the truth, it's a part of my culture. And I'm among people who also don't tell the truth, and it enables me to keep on living fake lives. And in my company, I'm living among fakeness, and when I start to telling the truth, it makes my listeners uncomfortable. And so the less lies I tell, the less uncomfortableness I experience. Because when I tell the truth, it makes my audience, my listeners, uncomfortable. And then I'm uncomfortable because they're uncomfortable. So I have some growing to do to continue to tell the truth about the way things are, and be able to lie down and rest and live with myself and write poetry and leave some ink here about the good that I did and the truth that I told for the ones who will follow me. That's somewhat a summary of where I am now as I continue my writing. I do have poetry, and I'd like to mention one book right now in my hand. It's called Let Reason Roll. That's the second book that I've written. The third book that I've written is called We Didn't Come Here to Stay, Race, Religion, and Reflection. And these books are available online at your regular places where you pick up your literature and your poetry.
Very good.
I'll continue to be writing.
Here's my book. It's imaginary. I haven't written it yet, so stay tuned. Yeah. Thanks a lot for listening, everybody, and hopefully you'll stick around and come back for some more after we come up with some great stuff to share with you. One of the things that I think I can speak for both of us, Elmer will correct me if I'm wrong, but I'm going to say that we're devoted to telling you the truth.
We're devoted to telling the truth.
We're
and
devoted.
When I don't tell you the truth, I said that I'm not telling you the full truth about that because I want you to be friends and I want to be comfortable with you. But we're going to tell the truth. That was mine or yours? Oh, didn't sound like mine. I'm surprised that mine didn't go off. I'm cutting mine off.
That's my daughter. I'm going to call her back in a minute.
Okay.
Thank you, folks. And we're just devoted to telling you the truth, keeping it real. And when we have statistics and information and data to share with you, we're going to do our best to make sure it's really accurate. And if we ever make a mistake, we will tell you as soon as we realize that we've done that. And we're going to do our best to be as authentic and faithful to the truth as we can. And we're going to invite a lot of people on here who have really different points of view from us, so that we can find out why they have different points of view. If they're convincing enough, maybe they'll change our minds.
My mind could be changed about some things.
Yeah.
That's the way we grow. I'm still a student of politics, and politics have always been around. And I've held public office 15 years, 5 months, 20 days, and 30 minutes, and retired from it. And
that's a very accurate number, man. That's impressive.
Well, when I left discontinued being an elected official, the form of government was changing. I was a part of the reason for it being changed. That's why I know exactly how long that I worked, because I wasn't defeated, but the form of government was defeated, which included me, which made me be a loser in it, but a winner when it came to my salary. I'm salaried and retired. I hope that's not interfered with, since I feel like I earned every bit of it. So I still work for the community, which has nothing to do with the income that I get. It doesn't go up or down. It's just that I feel indebted to my community.
Do you want to tell us what the source of that income is? Are you talking about Social Security or something more than that? Some kind of
I paid into my teacher's retirement.
Oh, retirement, yeah.
I paid into the retirement from APRA's, Arkansas Public Employee Service Commission. I paid into that while I was an elected official. So when 1899 came, I had paid in my retirement to the extent that I was able to get a teacher's retirement check, APRA's, Arkansas Public Employee Service Commission check, Social Security, and a check of $1.72 a day from Metropolitan Life, where I retired. That was one of my failures in life. So when we face times like this, I've had failures. I had 10 years in the business world, 10 years, 2 months, and 2 weeks, and retired on $1.72 a day. I thank God for my APRA's. It's tremendous amount. It puts me into 6 digits, if I may.
I'm thinking,
and I'm thankful about it.
Heck yeah, I think a lot of people are out there, young people, going, man, I sure wish I had a system where I could count on, building up a retirement account, because so many of these corporations now run by our big billionaire people have found out that they can profit a lot more by eliminating a lot of these programs and saving money for themselves and adding to their bottom line and their new Lear jets and their new 14th home or whatever. I understand that Jeff Bezos has a 500-foot boat, and he had to build a 300-foot boat to go behind it to service the 500-foot boat. So,
is that one of those billionaires that we've been talking about? Just...
Jeff Bezos owns Amazon, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. And he was up on the stage with the other guys, Mark Zuckerberg and Tim Cook. And
I would imagine that my son realizes the name of all these people that were standing there.
Yes, of course, yeah. Mm-hmm.
I was talking to him recently, and he was telling me about the intellect of some of the people in that position. Some of them are very highly intelligent. Some of them have just been able to, based on their sources and their ability to be creative, really don't know how wealthy they are. I was told 40 years ago that multi-millionaires, which was a lot of money to even think about at that time, had money being made so fast that when they went to bed one night and got up the next morning, their amount was quite different.
Yeah.
I think this is fun. I think I should mention. At one time, I had a little money in the bank, and it was making $11 a day, and it didn't last long. I thought that was so great. I believe it was during the Bush administration, Bush 41. Something happened
back in the 80s, I think.
I think that's when it was.
Yeah,
that's why I bought my house.
I think Jimmy Carter was the president when the crime rate went to like 18% or something like that, close to 20%.
The taxes and then the interest, and it was like $11 a day or something. That just didn't last long. Well, I thought that this keeps on going. That was great. It didn't last long.
All right. So what do you say? We wrap it up and maybe
can wrap it up.
try something next
Try something
day or two?
specific when we come back the next time.
Yeah.
We'll be ready to do
Thanks,
that.
everybody. Appreciate you.
Good night. Good evening. Good day. See you the next time.
Oh, that's right. I always forget this isn't a touch screen, don't I? Yeah, I have to push that.